Scrum.
G'day everybody, love to have your company on a Saturday afternoon. My name's Tony Squires. I'm alongside Ryan Girdler, Wade Graham and Michael Chamis. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we?
Tone.
Hey, Tony.
How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm loving the weather. Loving the rain. How about you?
Yeah, well, I've got my young bloke in the back of the studio actually kicking a footy around. So footy's off, all sports off for the weekend. Actually, not out west.
Not out west, they're still playing.
These boys are playing, but in the Shire, all the fields are closed. So I was walking out the door today and I just saw the look on the wife's face with the two boys playing footy in the lounge room. I went, right, I can take one. I can't take both, but I'll take one off your hands.
What was it, rock, scissors, paper? Who got to come?
No, the second one's a wild child, so I brought the sensible one.
That's the sensible
That's
one.
the sensible one, yeah.
Is that the one that was kicking the footy into the ceiling here?
Nah, that was Woodsy's young bloke.
Oh,
My
okay.
one's that one.
They both love a chip and chase.
Yeah,
They were going for it.
Woodsy's young bloke's already complaining, so he's taking after the old man pretty quickly.
The weather is appalling. Raining in Sydney, raining. What's it like in Queensland as we speak?
Oh, 21, 22 tone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a bit cloudy. But yeah,
Nice.
no rain as yet. But there's been rain up here the last couple of weeks as well. So
Magic round,
not
how
too
will
much
it
better.
be? What's the forecast
well,
for...
what's the forecast?
Yes, because
Do you
that's...
want to have a look?
Yeah,
I had a
Can
look
we do
today,
that on-
boys. It's going to
can
be
we do
good.
that on
It's
radio?
going to be good.
24, 25 degrees,
Oh, there you go.
sunshine. I've
Perfect.
planned my week already.
Have you? Does any of it involve football?
Does that mean you're bringing the Whiteside Speedos? Does it, Chama?
We don't swim, mate. We don't swim.
Oh, you don't swim?
Yeah.
Who's we?
Well, I don't want to stereotype, but you can imagine.
Okay. All right.
Hey, how have you gone planning for tomorrow's Mother's Day? Have you bought presents for either your mother or on behalf of your children for your partners?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Oh,
I'm
no.
set.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. I finalised it today for my wife,
Really?
but Mum's all set. We're gonna the footy's cancelled, but the boys' ice hockey's still on. We play at Liverpool rink tomorrow, and then after that, I'm gonna just go to Mum and Dad's for lunch, take the kids over, and I got a present for Mum.
Done all that.
Yeah, my kids are right on the threshold tone of, she's not my mother, she's your mother.
Yeah.
So, but they're, sometimes they've been sort of in the habit of making things through the week for Mother's Day,
Oh, nice.
but they're past that age. So they've fallen into the crack now of kind of needing money off Dad.
Yeah.
So I've just had to sort of,
Oh, he's right there. You have.
hello. Yeah, just
no,
shelled
you're
out some cash through the week and I'm not sure what they're up to. I got a card this morning from Coles
Nice.
because that's under the studio. And
Effort.
just a backup card in case they forgot the card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. and
Michael
that's it.
Chamis, what
Well,
about you?
last week you boys were into me, giving me some marriage advice. The
Yeah.
fact that I wanted to play soccer instead of stay around for my wife's birthday.
Yes.
Well, the advice, at what point do you, because I've got a sister, right? So is it fair to say my sister takes care of my mother and I just worry about my wife's present? Is that fair?
No,
No, that is so unfair. What? This is your mother we're talking about as well as your sister's mother.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
so what,
you know
that's a
the-
girl's job, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
The name of the day is Mother's Day.
I know, but like we get him a present from all the kids. There's four of us, and my sister generally
You just want to chip
takes
in.
the hit up,
You just want to
and
chip
we
in.
just send over she sends over the invoice. That's pretty bad, isn't
You
it?
sound
Are you
I should
the,
just
are
walk
you
out
the
right
younger
now.
brother?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, wow.
You're sounding like Mark Bosnich, of course, a football legend, who, for his partner, in fact, for all of his family, for years and years, his gift for birthdays and Christmas is cash. He just gives them cash in an envelope. Does that work? No.
Well, it's better than nothing. It's better than what Shemmy's producing.
It does if your mum. It does if your mother's a tradesman.
Bunnings,
Love that.
Exactly. All right, we've got so much to get to in a little while. We'll get to can you give me the details rather than us going into the ramifications of the injuries, because there are plenty of them. It's the story of the weekend, perhaps the story of the season, really, what's going on injury-wise, big names being out for not just short-term but for long-term, and what that means both to their clubs and to the state of origin, for example. We're going to get to that next, but Michael, if you can just tell us where we are at. There were scans planned for Nathan Cleary today.
Yeah, this afternoon Nathan Cleary will go for scans. It doesn't look good for Nathan. They don't want to speculate just yet, but from what I gather, they fear it could be Origin series over for Nathan. We're looking maybe 6 to 8 weeks. It's a re-aggravation of the hamstring injury that he had earlier in the year. It's a massive blow on the back of Tom Trbojevic potentially out for the Origin series as well, given his injury the night
Tony?
before.
Tony, maybe they should just, maybe like call it off this year.
Origin. I was thinking the same thing.
Let's just have a year off. Give the players, they look a bit flat. There's a lot of injuries. Let's just maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, or just play
Wait
it as
till
a
next year.
curtain raiser to a New South Wales Cup game or something. Just push it back a little
Sure,
bit.
we
near
can
the
find
next level.
another game.
I don't view it that way. I view it as an opportunity for someone else to step up and take their game to the next level.
That's so poetic.
No, I do.
That's beautiful.
You talk about clubland, right? You see Jack Whiten leaving Canberra, and no one heard of Ethan Strange before this year. Young kid come in, and he's doing such a great job, and now everyone knows the name Ethan Strange. Here's an opportunity for someone to come up and take their game to the next level, and that's what Origin does. It allows people, to elevate their status, go to that elite level, and there's going to be an opportunity there for someone now, and hopefully it comes on the New South Wales side.
Well, we'll get your thoughts on who that might be in the next break. And Tom Trbojevic, what's the numbers for him?
Yeah, it's around that. I think they announced 7 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for Tom Trbojevic. So you'd imagine by the time he gets back, that the Origin team for Game 1 is named in 2 weeks' time.
Yep.
So you'd imagine both those guys, best case scenario, miss the first 2 games of the series. And then it's whether or not Madge wants to take a risk on a guy coming back from injury, if they get back at all by that point.
I think with both those guys now, certainly with Tommy's injury history and Nath reoccurring, if it's going to be that sort of length, that 7-8 week length, they should almost, selfishly from a club point of view, I'd think they just put a line for themselves.
There's no way the clubs will want them to come back after 6 weeks off, and their first game of rugby league or their second game of rugby league on the run into the finals is an Origin game. It's
and representative footy is for a player is it's the cherry on top. That's the icing on the cake, really. Like your body and work and your sole focus is your club and achieving that premiership at the end of the year. So there will be a disappointment within those individual players for sure that they're injured and they may not be able to take part in Origin. But from purely a season standpoint and a club standpoint, they'll be just focused on the back end of the season, making sure this doesn't linger into round 17, round 18, round 19, round 20, and that run to the finals.
I know we saw plenty on Tales of Tiger Town, but imagine having a camera last night at Madge's house for the last 48 hours. Could you imagine his reaction? He would have been livid.
Well, that's the other thing as well, boys. Stability around the representative teams as well. Like, it's the last thing. Madge probably had to go through that process last night and said, okay, those 2 guys are probably out for the series. The last thing he kind of wants to probably consider now is, would they be available for Game 2 if we need him to come back in? What he wants to do is, have some clarity around the side that he picks, the guys that he's going to, go through the series with, and those guys that can't be part of it, well, then it's another year for them, but he needs to get some consistency around the guys that he's going to take on that journey. So hopefully it allows him to do that without those guys sort of saying, I'll be back for Game 2 or Game 3.
Yeah, all right. We'll look at who may be the contenders to pull on those jerseys in a little while. I guess the other person we care about and find out how they are is the Channel 9 cameraman who Tom Trbojevic. What's his injury? Because that was quite the collision. It wasn't where the hammy was pulled, obviously. It was in the chase across field, but they collided quite heavily.
Yeah, it was. I think it was syndesmosis for the cameraman, so he might be out of Origin as well.
He's out of Magic Round. He's filthy. He's out of Magic Round.
Triple M rocking the footy on a Saturday afternoon. Will you also be doing the cooking, Wato, on Mother's Day?
I will. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it before what I'm going to cook actually on the way in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. As you come up with the ideas, just let me know.
I've already decided.
Have you? What
I'm
are you
going
going
to do slow cooked lamb shanks.
Slow cooked lamb shank. Yum.
Yeah. So I'll have to leave lunch early because you need probably 3.5, 4 hours for that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe get to mum, say 11, leave there at 1, back in the Shire by 2, dinner by 6:30.
So you're backing up, you're having a Mother's Day lunch with your mum.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's for you and Mrs. later for dinner.
Yeah, well, Sunday's a nice night to have a family day anyway, a family dinner, and
Totally.
do a nice warm meal in this wintry weather down here, and
I love it.
everyone wins. Everyone's a winner. I like to eat that sort of food too. So
yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. No winners really, perhaps Queensland and opposition teams out of the injuries that have occurred over the weekend and before that when we talk about Cam Murray as well for New South Wales. But Nathan Cleary, Tom Trbojevic, both serious injuries. Nathan Cleary is being scanned today, so we don't know the full extent, but it looks like a 6 to 8 week injury. Tom Trbojevic, 7, certainly a couple of months. So both of them, we imagine, will be out of Sky Blue jerseys for State of Origin. Before we get into that, I just want to listen to Ivan Cleary talking about Nathan's injury, because one of the big questions was, why did he come back, play the game against North Queensland, and then there was a short turnaround, but then wasn't there for the next game? So was he actually feeling anything before he went into last night's game? But let's have a listen to what Coach Ivan Cleary had to say.
Yeah, he was pretty shattered actually. Did a sprinting and like on a kick and diving to, I think it was to tackle Connor Tracy. So yeah, he just felt it straight away, so he knew. So that would suggest it's decent.
Is it the same? It's the same one that he's been having trouble with. What have the doctors said about? Obviously he played him without any risk tonight, but it's just one of those things that can easily flare up again.
Yeah, it hasn't been a problem. He came back, he played against the Cowboys. He didn't play last week because there was a 5-day turnaround and he was a bit sore. So that was always part of the threat, I guess, of travelling. And then trained. So he's basically done every session for 2 weeks and without any drama. So obviously he's done it again. So that's a problem. But it's not like it hasn't been an ongoing thing.
So trained at 100%. So there's no indication that he actually felt anything when he played against North Queensland, but it seems like it's been there. It's the same injury.
Yeah, and look, he obviously hadn't played in a while, so he would have been a bit sore for coming back. They had to fly, wouldn't have helped the situation. And as he said, a 5-day turnaround. I was actually at training last week watching Nathan train and kick goals. He didn't look like he was hampered by that injury at all. And then obviously on the weekend, he looked fine. It was a great first half performance he put together. And then, unfortunately, you could see in the replays, I think Shane Elford, the trainer, went up to him and he knew straight away, I'm gone. And the worst part about this for the Panthers is their replacement, Brad Schneider, who's done a pretty good job in stepping in for Nathan Cleary so far this year.
Yep.
He hurt himself in New South Wales Cup yesterday. It was a pretty ugly injury, kicking the ball downfield, a player running at him, taking his legs out. And he'll miss a few weeks at the very least as well. So I don't know what Penrith do. You imagine Jack Cole maybe goes to 6, Luai to 7 over the next few weeks. But
Laurie's an option.
Laurie's an option. They don't really have an out-and-out 7, though, with Schneider not there. And don't know. What do? Do they go into the marketplace? Do they try and fill the void there? Time will tell with Penrith. It's been an up and down week for them.
Jerome Luai said that he's the man. He steps up. He owns the team, which he has done in the past, and obviously will have to do when he moves clubs next year. So it'll be interesting watch over the next few weeks for him as well. All right, well, let's stick with the Blues jerseys though. So Nathan Cleary before we get to Tommy, Ryan Girdler. What do you see happening?
Well, I think all eyes will be on, obviously, Mitch Moses next week. He comes back next week, missing last night's game against the Broncos. So that'll allow him basically just the one game, will it, before the side's picked?
He's no guarantee, Gerds. I'm speaking to people at Parramatta. They hope he's going to run today for the first time. They'll give him till just before the game in Magic Round to see if he can play. But he may be unavailable this week and only get one game into him before Origin. Is that enough?
Did you just say he's going to run for the first time this week?
Properly, yeah.
That's
probably not right. Well, if that's the case, then my thoughts on Nico this year were I wouldn't have played him at 6 if you're going to have like Isaiah and Nathan and that combinations, like running the program there at that level. Because I just feel like he's a player that needs to play his own game, get in there and does what he does at Cronulla. He's got his hands on the football a lot. You just can't stick him out on a side and wait for him to get the football. I don't think I haven't seen him play like that. So I think if Nathan's not there and Mitch Moses, who's done a good job in the past, isn't available or he's not ready, well then I think Nico gets the 7 jersey for mine and goes out there and plays his natural game.
Do you think Nathan's injury harms Dylan Edwards' chances at all?
Well, because of that combination.
Well, I imagine that combination, the Dylan Edwards, Nathan, would be a part of a factor in Michael Maguire's thinking. Does that change anything whatsoever, moving it to Teddy's favour?
I think maybe a little bit. And not just that, like the fact Turbo is out, Murray's out, there's a lot of experience there as well. So do you throw a debutant in? But Dylan Edwards isn't like a normal debutant. Like this is a guy who's played for Australia. He's won 3 comps. He knows what big games are about. I wouldn't flinch at throwing him in there, but certainly the combination and the missing experience maybe does play against him a little bit in favour of Teddy. Teddy's playing good footy. Yeah. Like you can't leave. I couldn't leave Teddy out with the way he's playing this year. He's the captain of that team, and I think he's the man still. And it's just unfortunate for Dylan Edwards. He's playing in a time. You know,
Your son's just
yeah,
tackled the
no,
Mark
he just
Dyer
tackled
statue.
Mark Dyer statue. So started. They
fallen to the ground.
yeah, he's
Just
rattled.
put him on his ass, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, MG, mate, if you're listening out there, you know, he's got a bit of Blacktown still in him, all right, sorry. Yeah, but Teddy, he's still the one, right? He's still the captain. I think he gets picked. And it's just a shame that Dylan Edwards has played all this rich vein of footy with just another guy like Teddy available.
And I think also, Wade, you spoke about that combination. I think it's more so the experience. Like if you're going to have a new guy come in at 7, we don't know who's going to be 6. You probably don't want to have a new one as well. And even if Appy plays, like Appy's only played a couple of Origins himself, he's going to be the 9. So Teddy will just provide that little bit of experience that's going to be needed in those key positions because it is going to be a new looking spine.
Well, how does it? You said Appy's going to be the 9, and I agree he should be the 9. But there's a bit of talk that they're considering a Reece Robson, Cameron McInnes combination, and maybe the style that Madge wants to play, that Appy might be left out. Would you be surprised if Appy wasn't wearing that number 9 jersey?
Yes. Yeah, I think he's been, probably the informed number 9 in the competition. But again, I know that Madge is going to bring, some new players in. I'm kind of ready to see sort of what it is that he's after. Like, and I know the players that you mentioned and what they bring, but you still need to be able to find points at that level. You still need to have that nous, that creativity around dummy half that I think Appy can just break sides open with. So. But yeah, look, I don't think I'm going to be really that surprised. But whoever comes in, but I'd be a little bit shocked if Appy was left out.
All right, back to the 7, Wado. Nathan Cleary's not there.
Nico's the man. I don't want to go too hard because it seems there's a bit of voodoo around anyone would pencil in. But Nico's the guy. Give him the keys to the team. Let him drive it. That's what he does at Cronulla, as Gerd said. I would have been confident with him playing with Nate because he's got the footy nous to build off that Penrith connection that Gerds was talking about. Like when he played at Melbourne, he played fullback, fit into that system wherever he went, played 5'8", came off the bench, played a number of positions. He's got a high footy IQ and he could understand how that combination works and then build off the back of that and even provide another option on the other side of the field. I would have been fully confident in him playing with that group of players. But now with the circumstance, I'd get him in the 7. I'd have him controlling the play, how he wanted to play. And I'd be looking to put someone like a Jack Whiten or someone with him, a real strong running 6. Just let Nico handle the ball and do the majority of the kicking, and let's have some other direct running threats around him.
Because generally the style that the Sharkies play, Wado, I mean, Nico doesn't play off a 13, so does that take away Isaiah Yeo's role just a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think this is a part of what Madge has been trying to build anyway with this season. There's been a number of meetings between players, halves combinations, middle combinations. No doubt Isaiah Yeo would have been invited to those sort of game plan meetings just to get a feel of it. And I think that's yourself, Gerds, going to camp. It's about trying to complement each other. All of us have different strengths that you play at with your club. Trying to bring that together, bring out those strengths on the field in that arena is a part of the week of preparation and trying to get the best out of that. I think he could do it. But if you're going to pick a 7 who prefers to play up flat on the ball over the ad line, maybe you need to adjust the way you play with your middles as well.
Yeah.
Because he is a run threat, Nico. That's his best part of his game when he's running and threatening the line. So maybe they do adjust their style a little bit.
All right, with Turbo gone, just quickly in the centres, he likes of obviously Stephen Crichton, Bradman Best, who played there last year, Jesse Ramian.
That's my guy.
The Shark is just your guy. But does Latrell Mitchell come back into the mix? He's back on the field this evening against the Dragons. What do you think in the centres, Ryan?
Yeah, well, I had sort of Tommy at right centre, so I think that's just a swap out for Steve Crichton. I know that Ramian's been in good touch. I like Best. And I think we just need to watch and see how Latrell plays over the next couple of weeks, what his attitude's like, what his energy levels are like. And then, I think we've got the outside backs, well and truly covered. There's some quality centres running around the competition, so I'm not too worried about that. Tommy's a big loss, don't get me wrong. But we do have a plethora of guys there that'll do a job for us.
Gerds is back.
He's back.
He's back
on.
a minute ago.
Yeah. We brought him back. But I completely agree with good. Like, whether Latrell is in the team or not, it's going to be up to Latrell over the next 3 weeks. So we're going to be able to tell as spectators and people who watch the game the way he carries himself in the game, the way he plays, because you can see with him, he wears his emotion on the sleeve. You can take his temperature of how he's feeling just by looking at him and the way he gets around the field with his body language. So whether he's in the team in 3 weeks will be completely up to him. Like, we'll know if Latrell's going to be in that team by the way he plays. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a simple question to answer once he gets some footy under his belt.
So
again.
if he's fully fit, playing well, in good form over the next 3 weeks, knowing the style of football, Madge, and we know what Latrell's like. He isn't the guy who's going to be running around the paddock all the time, high energy. He chooses his moments and he gets involved. Do you pick him though, knowing that Madge plays a certain style of football and wants?
Well, like what I just said, like if the way he plays over the next 3 weeks will determine how he goes. If he's all in 100%, if he's building on the plays, if he's having those moments but doing his job at the back and helping South win, I think he will be picked. Like, but he needs to play the way that Madge would want him to play at Origin level, which is you need to be high energy, you need to do your defensive work, you need to be in the game at all times, and that's what he needs to do for South to help pull him out of this hole that they're in. He needs to come back, and like every now and again, when a team like South is in the form slump they in, you need your best player to stand up and put the team on your back and go, this is the way we're going, and that's what he has to do for South. If they're to win, that's what he has to do. And if he does that over the next 3 weeks, I think he does come into calculations. Whether Madge wants to go with him or not is up to Madge. But if he plays the way he can play at the best of his ability, his mind's in the right place, and he's dragging that South team along with him, I think you have to. I think.